Good morning, or good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody is doing well. I'd like to welcome you to DaAfrican Speaks and Happy New Year. If this is the first time we're seeing each other here in 2026, so welcome, welcome, welcome. We did say that this year we have claimed it to be the coming 2026, the coming of the Ubuntu generation. Now, this is a transgenerational experience because understanding the concept of Ubuntu can go from the youngest of us to the oldest, and it incorporates all of us in the process. So, this is definitely an experience for the whole community. We are doing lessons for the youth as well as for the adults. And of course, this is the adult section. If you have teenagers that you can have sitting with you and watch, sit, watch, and let us begin to discuss the things that concern our awakening. All right. So now, of course, yes, Ubuntu means by definition, excuse me, I am because we are. I am because we are. And we say this is where we get our identity from. But on another level, it is also a process for remembering. It is a process for remembering, not learning anything new, but tapping into what is already within us and all around us. And so last week, to recap, we discussed what is Afro consciousness? What is Afro consciousness? And in the stream, we said Afro consciousness is not the information that is in your head. It's not. You can read a book after book after book. It is not the information. It's not what you know. It's what is in you. It's the essence of your being. It's an awareness. It's an awareness of the state of your true reality. So now in this space, we go a little bit deeper. And before we continue to go in to this topic that we're going to talk about, before I announce it, I want you to bring about the thoughts of your ancestors. We acknowledge those who have come before us, not just in memory alone, but in presence, because this is a process of going within. So those who are our thoughts are still with us in our bodies, and those who we know still live with us in our blood. The knowing of everything is that epigenetic connection. Mm. So we are not here to argue. We're not here to perform awarenesses. No. We're not here to fight about anything. We're just here for clarity. We're here to begin to work on the process of understanding what it truly means to find ourselves open to a state of freedom in our beings. And so tonight's topic, we're speaking on the African mind versus the colonized mind. Now we brushed up on this a little bit last week, and we said we want to get more deep into this because you can't truly experience Ubuntu if you don't understand what you have to get past to enjoy the process of remembering. So this is not to insult anyone. This is not to blame anyone. I'm not here to be mean. I'm not here to say anybody is better than anybody else. This whole conversation is about recognition. Recognition is where we're going to speak truth, simple and plain. The fact that the African mind is the original mind. The African mind is the original mind. And when we talk about the African mind being the original mind, we're not discussing it as a point of color. This has nothing to do with race. We're talking about a orientation of consciousness. An orientation of consciousness. The African mindset is a relational state of being. And so when we say that orientation of consciousness, it is a mindset that directs you. It knows itself through connection. You know you are accessing the African mindset when the decisions you make lead you through family. The African mindset knows itself through its land, its relationship to the earth. The African mindset knows itself through its connection and its relationship to its ancestors. The African mindset knows itself through its connection to the Most High. In the African mind, you do not exist alone. In the African mindset, you exist because of relationship. I am because we are. We, the land, we, the family, we, the ancestors, and we, the spirit. We are of one consciousness. And in that state, that African mindset, time is not rushed, it's cyclical. What is coming is already present. What used to be is still present. The mind doesn't separate the soul from the body. It doesn't separate the individual from community. Everything belongs in the same field of energy. Now, listen carefully, please, because when we also talk about the colonized mindset, we are not talking about race. We're talking about training. The colonized mindset is a mindset that allows us to or focus us on being fragmented. It learns to survive through separation. In the colonized mindset and its survival mode, we are taught to compete when we're supposed to connect. In this colonized mindset, we're taught to rank where we're meant to relate. We're taught to prove our worth instead of remembering it. And in that space of functioning from that survival mode, and they said that this particular mindset takes hold of a child by the age of 12. Their brain frequency is locked in to survival mode. And so time is scarce. We got to hurry up and I got to have everything. That CP time, colored people time, is a beautiful experience. Somebody told you it was wrong, but it's not. Your identity inside this colonized mind is performative. Everything is a show. Look at social media, it's all a show. In a colonized mindset, you find your value outside yourself. Mm. The spirit of life that is in us and around us is separated from your daily journey. It's like you got to look somewhere up. You got to go somewhere else to meditate, not realizing you are the temple. There is no separation between you and the energy field, which permeates within us and all around us. The body becomes, in the colonized mindset, the body becomes something that you have to control, not only within yourself, but everybody else. The mind becomes something that you need to dominate inside the colonized mindset, not only with inside yourself, but those who are around you. The colonization of an African people did not only take the land, it turned the mind into believing that the individual exists alone. You're always fighting to survive, and you can't ask for help, and you're having problems connecting the people. That is the colonized mindset. Now, here where we get closer and get more personal, because most people, most African people around the diaspora, are not fighting oppression on the outside. And that's some of the ones, the leaders that we have on the highest of levels. They are not fighting oppression. They are negotiating between the two minds that exists within them. One mind remembers wholeness. The other mind was trained for survival. One mind knows I belong, and the other mind is always asking, am I enough? And when these two minds are living in the same body without recognition, that's when we get exhausted. That's when we get confusion. That's where brilliance, your genius, your level of excellence is mixed up with self-doubt. Not because you're broken, but because you were trained to see yourself and to see life through a lens that was not made or designed for you. How can you see life clearly looking at it through the eyes of being oppressed? You can't. Now, I want you to think about this, because this is about recognition. How many of us were taught to leave home to become successful? How many of us was taught to silence your intuition to become more logical? How many of us was taught to measure life by achievements instead of spiritual alignment and purpose? Hmm. Think about how early we were taught to compete in school, in religion, and even family. Think about it. It's not African intelligence. That's our conditioning. Because if we were functioning from the African mindset, we would be asking ourselves, how are we doing together? And when we're dealing with ourselves from the colonized mindset, we're asking, how am I doing compared to somebody else? Now, I'm going to make this clear. There is no shame in recognizing the colonized mindset. Shame keeps the conditioning in place. Seeing it dissolves it. Recognizing the parts of you that are still colonized helps you dissolve it. How you say that, Agyei? Easy. Because you did not choose to be trained. You did not choose to be oppressed. You did not choose to be colonized. You did not choose to be psychologically conditioned. But you can choose. When you realize those two minds are in you, you can choose to be aware of what's going on internally. Awareness is where the decolonization begins. And I'm always talking about decolonizing therapy, changing the process of the institutions around us so that we can get out of what is inside us. We got to decolonize ourselves. Now, this doesn't happen just because we protest. We had a lot of people protesting for a lot of things. This doesn't happen because of the aesthetics first, where that comes first. You protest first. We're going to do this first. Let's march first. All of a sudden you want to be African or you want to be blacker, so you go buy something first. No. What comes first is inner recognition, acknowledging the illness. And get this, please. There are multiple levels of our conditioning state. I don't care what you lead, what you do, how much you read, what Ivy League school you went to get your degree. It doesn't do it if you don't realize your inner recognition. It's not information. And in this process, this decolonization process is all inner healing. It's all inner healing. And being able to understand that this is inner healing is a way you can make your changes. So this week, we're going to invite you. I'm inviting you not to change anything. You're like, wait a minute, brother, you talking this African Speaks. You don't want me to change anything? I'm inviting you not to change anything. I just want you to take notice. But just take notice. Notice which mind is speaking when you make decisions. Notice which mind is speaking when you judge yourself. Notice which mind is speaking when you react emotionally. Notice which mind is speaking when you define your success for the week. Just take notice. Because the moment you can see and the moment you can say, oh, that's the voice of my conditioning. The moment you get there, the hold that the colonized mind has on you begins to loosen up. The second you realize which one is coming forth and how you make your decisions, how you're viewing things, the hold loosens up. And again, that's when we can walk into our state of decolonization. What? Being deconditioned. And my community say deniggerized. And in that space, again, is when the inner healing begins. Because once you recognize that there are two minds in you, you're no longer confused by your training. And you can't confuse what is conditioned. Say, this is who I am. No, that's who you were trained to be. Because after a while, you'll be able to see what is your true identity. I was trained to think this way. I was trained to act this way. When you get that down, you can see the identity of who you really are. Now, of course, we said that this is an intergenerational experience because we do have some mothers and some grandmothers and some parents and uncles and aunts who are still colonized. We have some children who are being trained to be colonized. So as you watch and as you participate in this week's invitation to just take notice, kids, don't worry about your confusion. Because when you ask yourself why I did this and you're trying to figure that out and you're sitting in that confusion, like, why? Because sometimes that conditioned mind will slip in there when you least expect it. Don't worry about why you did it. Because confusion is not a weakness. It is your first step to clarity. And the elders who are watching these children and the elders as you go forward, yeah, let's not lecture the next generation. Let's bear witness to their becoming. Bear witness to their becoming. Because in this journey, everything that they go through, they'll understand that they're not broken. you'll understand that you are not broken. Hmm. You were trained to be this way. You were trained to be colonized. You were trained to be conditioned. You were trained not to be aware of your greatness, not to connect to that African mindset, not to connect to that natural African consciousness. You were trained. So you're not broken. Especially when you after a while you take the time to see clear, an eye to see, and an ear to hear what? Your own consciousness that is inside you. Battling is just a spiritual warfare of how you govern this temple. You're not broken. And the things that you were trained to do by being in such a colonized state of society was it. We locked in here. Everything that you've learned, everything that you were trained can be unlearned once it's seen. Once your eye is open and you have an eye to see, you have an ear to hear, you can ask yourself, are my actions based off of my African mindset? Or are my actions and decisions based off my colonized mindset? And again, the African mindset is not, doesn't pull you or separate you from your people, from your journey. It should pull you back together. When you unlearn the things that have pulled us down. And so unlearning everything, connecting back to each other, that Ubuntu process and philosophy. And I've always said this, we realize that the African in us rises. You will see the rise of the African in you. Dealing with the two. You can't serve two gods. And so in that space of watching it rise, the African mindset having more dominance in your being, I'm going to sit down and tell you, you want to continue this? Come on and join the mission. You can find us. I'm always on the African Speaks. You can find us on the worldofakibland.org, World of Akibland on YouTube, Facebook. Come on and join the mission. Join the community. The PAOCC, it's mine. Join the conversation. Like, comment, share. After this week, I'll be putting in extra journals that you can go, that you'll be able to find on the African Speaks, so that as you go through the process and as you go through the day, you can ask yourself throughout the week, ask yourself certain questions and journal it, put it together. Yeah, we're going in this year. We're going in because we're going to make sure by the 2027, we are different people. You're going to be a different person. If you have an elevated state of consciousness and you're aware of the two minds, we're going to make sure that you evolve even more. And bring a child. We are always here. We have Saturday classes for the kids in Atlanta, Sunday experiences. We're always trying to put together special events that they can experience the African minds coming through. And so this, when we put together the 2026 concept and all the lessons for the whole year, we sat down and said, well, we got to make sure that we bring the parents along. So come along. We would love to have you, whether it be in the virtual village or whether it be in Atlanta, Houston, or Detroit, South Carolina. Yes. Come along and join us so that we can make this year and this season successful. I want you to be able to witness and the experience the rise of the African mindset in you. And with that being said, one love.